the group, we find the party within this enormous cavern, surrounded by these drow warriors who have weapons trained in your direction. And the drow woman who brought you through is currently on her knees in front of you all, breathing heavily, and the mushroom door behind you has closed. So we find the group, Rinna included, just catching their breath.
Rinna collapses.
Yeah, you're literally
Am I? Never mind. Rinna passes out briefly and then wakes back up.
No.
Well, that was a doozy. You're at like half-life because I healed you up to almost full.
Lit.
Well, shit. What is this place?
And one of the drow steps forward, and he is dressed. They're all dressed similarly, lots of dark colors, but you can see on a few these bands of almost light that kind of glow a bit in the darkness as they pass beyond torchlight. And you can see that there really isn't that much torchlight here. You find yourselves in this cavern of mushrooms that kind of glow and pulse with light. They aren't quite as big as the one that you rushed through, but they seem to be heading in that direction. And this drow gentleman steps forward, and his hair kind of seems to glow a little bit in the light of the mushrooms, and he's dressed in just a simple dark purple tunic with these dark purple leggings, and his feet make no sound as they step towards you all. And he has his hand on a sword, and this is the Cavern of Hosts. Why have you followed our shaman? Why have you brought them here? And she's just shaking her head, and she finally picks herself up, and I've settled my debt with them. They saved my life. They saved the lives of many. And I've settled my debt. But they're probably very ill. And she stumbles over to a couple of the other drow who very quickly surround her and lead her away. And the gentleman again steps forward, and he's now just kind of looking at you all. And he's just studying you. He's not saying anything. He's just intently studying all of you.
Perception check. I got on my dice.
Can I start self-diagnosing on what I need to do to heal us from the poison?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a medicine check with advantage.
13.
There's not much. You actually can't see very much. You're going to be at a disadvantage for most things down here, because you don't have dark vision. So beyond these, like, you can see where, like, the mushrooms are kind of glowing, but especially for you, Tamsin, like, everything is in a very dim light.
Okay.
18.
Okay. You are going to need... Do you have, like, the restoration spells to cure poison? Like, they are very definitively poisoned, but it's not something that you can't do anything about.
So I only have lesser restoration.
Well, that'd be nice.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that cures poisoning?
Yep, it does.
Yeah, so that'll be fine. Like, that will work, or you can get, like, herbalism hits.
It only works on one person
Okay.
per usage.
Okay.
Probably survive poison for a while. I'll be fine. I'm gonna spend a key point and cast dark vision on myself. It lasts for 8 hours.
Yeah.
I got a 21 on perception on this situation.
They are not actively hostile, but there's roughly 6 or 7 who have stayed behind. There were about 3 or 4 who took Opal off through this cavern. And they don't look like they're openly hostile, but they definitely look like they're very suspicious of you.
Is my boy poisoned?
You gotta check on the
Are you okay, boy?
and you just hear this like rattling piece.
Oh no, I'm going to use Lesser Restoration on him.
Yep.
And then,
Nope, that makes sense.
so I'm going to use Lesser Restoration on him. And then I'm going to use Cure Wounds. Yeah, Cure Wounds at level 1 on him. And 10 points of healing.
Okay. And so that wheeze, he kind of like coughs a little bit, and then he. Thanks, Mama.
You're welcome. Are we all poisoned? Are
Yeah.
all of us poisoned?
Yeah.
Like everyone, you can all feel that whatever poison this is, it's definitely more of something that's like in your lungs. Like it's harder to catch your breath, and until you are cured of this poisoning, anything requiring a dexterity check, you're gonna have disadvantage on.
Does it keep dealing us damage?
Yes, it's going to deal you 5 points of damage each day that it's not cured.
Ah.
It's
This is really advanced hallucinations.
Oh, hey, pal.
Are you real?
I
We're
start,
here, we've got you.
I start to poke you. Does that feel real? She starts poking your face. Does that feel real?
A little bit.
So she's going in and out of consciousness. We need to stabilize her.
I already did.
Well, more, she just passed out again, so.
It's just from the shock. It'll wear off in a day or
She's
two.
just afraid he
My-
can't. What's
Everything was broken. Everything.
You're welcome.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I'm just picturing
Can-
Stella girl.
Can I get down, please?
She sets her down.
And I kind of like flinch as my feet hit the ground.
Yeah, and they're
Just-
fine. Like nothing is broken anymore.
You guys saved me?
Well, yeah, we weren't gonna leave you behind.
Right.
Maybe leave like a more descriptive note next time, or
Well, if I'd known about the whole kidnapping
Is
and
this fine then? You're fine?
kind of.
I think we could use some help. Not feeling so great.
So I'm going to.
I'm like leaning on Remember, tears streaming down my face.
I look rough and I am not responsive.
I'm going to Lesser Restoration Angrod, and then I'm going to. I think. Hang on one second. Healing Word I can use for anybody within a 60-foot radius. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's only one person. I'm learning how to spell.
2 things. One, whenever you guys were like, and you're like, oh, you came to rescue me, and you guys were like, of course we did. I'm just like, you wouldn't even know. Like, first of all, and then second of all, she like tries to walk towards the drowned man to like see him more clearly because she's old. First of all, her sight's not great, and she's just like, and she's poisoned, and she's just like, God. Hello.
And then Angrod healed for 6 points of healing.
And the drow man like catches Delia's arm and you brought an elder. What?
No, we didn't bring an elder. She brought us.
And she goes, I'm a smart cookie.
All right, this is my last lesser restoration. Who's worse off?
Well, who can take the damage? Because we'll reset our hit points after the long rest, but
But poison will keep lasting.
I'll be fine. I have 8.
that's what I'm saying. So like, who has the lowest hit points that it'll affect the most?
I say this in a very
you still
not
poisoned?
I have
cynical
no idea
way.
what my hit points
I probably
are.
won't be with you for very much longer, so don't waste on
Is
me.
she poisoned?
Rinna is poisoned, but
Okay.
like she probably has the highest health out of all
Okay,
of
so
you.
Tamsin, lesser restoration.
Which is
You're not poisoned anymore.
Yeah,
nice. I
So
don't gain health
I
points, though.
still am, and
yeah.
they
Every time.
Also, did I use a health potion last session?
I don't know.
You gave potions away.
Potions. She's gonna go,
Who took the potion? potions.
and like
you know.
touch his face and be like, I'm sorry, I can't see anything.
I don't know, but I got it.
No, you're a topsider.
She picked us up.
Yes, we were saving this one. She was locked in the prison with Opal,
She
is it?
told us
That
that
woman?
you were
Yes.
gone.
Yes.
That's how we found you.
And we
I'll
released
bring
her
her
as well, and she
Yes.
helped us to get here. We were
She
all going
did.
to be killed, or none of us were
Yeah.
killed, so she decided to help us.
Yes.
Where
okay.
are we?
The cavern. I'm sorry. We'd never have topsiders come.
I apologize
It's
for the
Tops.
intrusion. We didn't really have much choice.
Well, you did. We'll go back into the village proper. This is, well, we don't want to spoil the crops, and these drow like just surround you all and just sort of start to guide you
She's
in
gonna
that
take his
same.
arm into like grandma way and be like, I can't
And
see.
he like stiffens a little bit. And he's all okay, and
Tell
you
me,
just.
what's your name? What do you do? Do you have a lady? A gentle folk?
My name is
Back to
Velkin.
eyelashes.
Oh, what
Broken?
hands? I'm sure you're
Velkin.
very
Oh,
handsome. I
Velkin.
could see you. I know you're handsome. You have a nice voice.
Okay, thank you.
Do you work out?
And
How high are the ceilings?
you can't see the top. Yeah.
All the
Nice.
And so Velkin and the rest of these drow guide you through this cavern of mushrooms, and you can see a few people here and there who look like they're tending to them, and they're not the sort of mushrooms that you're familiar with. Like, there are some that look like they're as big as trees. There are some with these glowing blue caps. There are some, they're just an immense array
She's
of them.
wistfully reaching out for them.
Someone just kind of, like, you bump
Jumping.
someone's leg, and they're like, hello. And then they, like, go back to their work. And you're brought into,
When you touch the sparkly stuff at the store.
you're brought into this village through another cavernous hallway. And you can see Opal is there being tended to by a few people. And they are just very quickly getting rid of the prison rags, and you can see that they are like washing her head to toe. There's someone there that's like weeping beside her, and she's trying to comfort them. And there are just probably a dozen or so children that rush to meet you.
Oh.
And they're touching Safine's hair,
Ah.
they're touching Remember's skin, like you've got one trying to jump up and like touch Angerod's ears, and you've got a couple that are like patting Temzin on the head, and there are still others that are like following after Delio, just huge
And
eyes.
she's like, oh, hello.
And there are a couple just following after Claudius, like
what is that?
trying to touch the wings, trying to like touch the tail, just in awe. And you are all brought into one of these nondescript houses. Like they're all very similar, all hewn from stone. And you're brought in, and there is this lovely roaring fire in this hearth, and you're all kind of sat down on the floor, and Velkin frees himself, and he takes a step back.
She just goes and starts walking in another direction. She's just like, hello, hello.
Just please sit.
She goes, okay. There's one more.
Now, what exactly, who are all of you?
Well, it'd be great if we had a name, but we don't. So,
You don't have names?
well, you can call us like our group. We don't have like a
I'm
brand
Delia.
yet.
I would like to consider myself the leader of this mission. You're welcome. And we had to, this is Rita.
Yes,
She's
I
the
understand.
problem child here.
No, I understand that.
I was
So
kidnapped.
I see. And now, which of you are in need of medical assistance?
I mean, we're all of
We're
them.
all just like,
Everyone raises hands.
I point out who's poisoned and whatnot. Well, I don't have enough
whenever
to
people
heal
ask
us.
us our names, I just picture like a Power Rangers, like everybody. I'm Red Ranger, Blue Ranger, Yellow Ranger.
Well, I'm very thankful that you have brought her home to us. usually it is 1 for 1. We have no trade that is too much nor too little. Everything has a balance to it, and Opal has paid her debt to you by saving your lives because you have saved hers. We can bring our healers to you to do what they can, but you will have to return the favor.
Does gold count as returning the favor?
What use have we for gold here?
I don't know where I am, so I'm not sure.
Do you mean like a future endeavor or now?
It would be now, the moment you're well. We can have some of you assist with repairing our houses, or just... We're giving you your strength, and we're giving you more time in your lives, and it is only fair that you return that strength and that time of your lives that we've given you.
We could just wait until I've slept the night and I could do this shit myself.
I don't mind doing tasks like that. We can do that. It seems fair.
And if you require food and somewhere to sleep,
And we
then...
also don't know where we are.
You're right, and he won't tell us.
And we definitely can't get back to where we came from.
You're right.
Right. I'll go get a few of our healers. And he just, like, flees from Delia.
Alright,
And
so
there are a couple drow who, like, head outside and are now on guard outside of this house that you found yourselves in. And it's a very simple house. There's a small cot, there's a small chest. It looks as though this is someone's house, or maybe just somewhere that they've got built for, like, merchants or trade people coming through. And sure enough, a few, 2 other drow come through, and they sit before you, and a couple of them give you, like, little tonics to drink, and you can feel that same sort of magic that Zafine uses, and it takes a good 2 hours, but eventually all of you are feeling well again. So you are now no longer poisoned. You're still, your health is still low if it was take a hit, but like you're no longer poisoned. And one of them looks over Rinna, and you're wearing the same things that Opal was wearing. Were you also in that awful place?
And my hands are just like shaking.
Yeah. I can get you something to wear. Do you have something that you would be willing to trade? Or I could perhaps...
Whatever you have, I'll work it out.
Yeah.
Thank you. And she leaves and returns with one of those same dark tunics and leggings and just hands it to you. My name is Asha. If you need anything, just call for me.
And like I like get up and kind of like go off to the side, like not very far from everybody, but I just like change and like toss the clothes on the ground and like stomp on them once, and then I go back and sit down.
And you also no longer have the collar. They snap the collar off and like burn
It's a good thing.
She just hissed at the Coke bottle.
Delia's gonna go and sit next to Rinna and take her hand that's shaking and just go, I'm so sorry it took us so long to get to you.
You're Delia.
I am, yes. Nice to meet you, you're Rinna. You remember that, right?
Yes, I know your name from
Before. That's
the before.
right. Yes.
Yes.
That's fine. Just rest now, rest now.
Thank
You're
you.
okay now.
Thank
It's
you.
all right.
And Asha looks you all over, and Opal is already fast at work. I'm sure that she would be willing to spare a few moments to speak with you all after, but you do not know where you are. You are in the Underdark. You are from Topside, from what I understand, and do you have any idea of the Underdark? From what we gather, stories of us are few and far between.
I've heard a couple of stories.
Opal
I
just
know a
said,
couple of you.
what are you doing? What are you doing? Get in. And that's all we knew.
So you know nothing of the Underdark.
What I know.
You actually, not really. Like, the Underdark is... You've probably heard some kind of old folklore thing about creatures that crawl up from the dark, but that's about it. Like
Yes.
ferret.
That's exactly
That's
where
the
they
only
come
animal
from.
they have is just ferrets down there.
Because I worked in a mine when I don't know.
Nope. No.
I'm assuming that out of all of us, I might know more just because we've helped Drow before. If they're active in Garon.
You have likely helped Drow before, but you still know very little, if anything, of the Underdark. And like the fact that there is like a whole village down here, it's like unheard of. And she goes ahead and
Wait, just for clarification, the Underdark is like its own plane, or it's literally just below everything?
it's below everything, but it's like a fucking like
It's
fucking
basically
miles.
its own
It's almost its own plane.
Okay,
Yeah,
just checking.
but it's still on like the material.
Are we beneath Garon? Where we
Is it
were?
beneath you?
I don't know precisely where we are in relation to the Topsiders. But where we are, you have Topside, where you have your forests and your sun and your sky. And we have heard some interesting stories of them. And then there is the Underdark, where perhaps your caverns might reach and your mines may reach, but they generally collapse before they reach the Underdark. And the Underdark is where our kind fled to when magic was being erased. And we know that there are quite a few who fled elsewhere topside, but it was much easier to just go deeper. But that was a very long time ago. But we are glad to have you here. We are interested to hear your stories. You're free to stay within this house if you like. We have a few other places to house you. And Opal's life is worth many of yours, which is why bringing all of you through, well, I suppose it is up to her to know if her debt is truly settled. She is, without her, the Cavern of Hosts would not exist. Many things that we rely on would not exist. So, get some rest, and we will wake you when it is time for waking. We have no sun here, and things are fairly steady light. We can place torches beyond the windows if that would help you.
You can wait with the rest of the things.
Well, it's lovely to meet you all, and I will see you shortly. And she goes ahead and she bows a little bit and she leaves the house.
If the only way out of here is through that prison, I'll just stay here forever. We'll just work, and we'll die here.
It looks like a pretty nice village.
I'll just level up until I'm 9, like level 9, and then I'll dimension door us out one by one. Don't worry about it.
We'll grind.
What is level 9?
It's a Raven Queen thing. You wouldn't,
It's a
you wouldn't get it.
self-enforced ranking system so she can determine her potential.
It is. It's very popular.
She will
Turtle.
be
Ever
like
heard of
all the
Nirvana?
Pokemon cards. She will be the next Pokemaster.
It's a Turdothian thing. You wouldn't get it.
Delia's gonna be
There were so
meditating
many
on the floor,
people
just trying to like regain her sanity.
If you think about it, there were a lot that would have died if we hadn't let them burn shit up.
Correction. She's gonna pull out her quill. Do they have pens? Do they have pens in this country? They have.
Would she have
a
had that
writing
on her?
I do. I
It's
have
in her
one.
pack. It's
Okay.
like her stuff. She's gonna try and like sketch out as much of the prison as she can possibly remember, and in as great a detail, and the names of the people, and like anything she can possibly put together on this piece of paper.
Did you kill the warden?
We'll be
No.
fine.
He deserves to die.
We're too shitty for that
I-
right now.
Actually, he deserves to be drawn and quartered. Then to have him watch as horses or dogs eat the individual body parts.
I like your brain.
Alright, well,
Did they do
that.
Therapy will be on the way. Maybe they have one of those healers.
Anger, are you alright?
My dice are amazing.
I cannot believe that you said that to me, Jesus. With my ego. I've been subjected to so long, and they never know. I don't even know that good with your fucking thing. So you can committed that which you didn't know.
There's a lot of stuff like that in Iran. You've never seen a slave mine.
That's why we exist. It's my job to make sure I get as many of you out of there as possible. There are good people in Iran. They're not all like that. There are mostly like that, but there are
Too
some
many
of
of them
us.
are like that.
Yeah, we should be.
You're damn right. And she goes, I'm sorry.
You said a swear. A wizard swear.
Okay. She's gonna like come up to each of you throughout whatever time we're in here and like ask you about any details that you remember from this prison to like make this a cohesive map. At all. Any details.
I mean, I didn't take any notes, so don't worry.
You should have put
Scream. Scrun.
Do I have a pretty good
Drow.
idea that the drow would be okay with me having a dragon?
You don't know. Like, the fact, like, again, there's no stories about how to behave in a village with mushroom dryads.
Mushroom dryads?
Yes.
True
Mushroom women.
sisters.
I guess the next person that comes around to like wake us up.
Fun guys.
So you go ahead and, you know, the time passes. You don't even know if it could be like, you could have gone to sleep in like the middle of the day.
Okay, so it's like a long rest.
Yes, it's going to be a long rest.
Score.
All are given a long rest. And in the morning, Asha again comes by and you hear, time to wake.
I scream.
Oh.
And then I'm like, hi.
She's gonna like.
When you scream,
Sorry,
Sophie
sorry.
immediately starts like searching around, like hands, like, are you good? Are you okay?
I'm okay.
She's
I'm
trying to
okay.
hit it like alarm clocks out. No.
And like as soon as you scream, Asha just slams the door open. And she's, did the bats get in?
She's
No,
okay.
I'm
Just
fine.
asking.
I'm fine. I
The prison is
surprised.
Understandable. Opal would have you all join us at a meal of thanks. She does wish to give thanks, actually. According to her, you saved most of the prisoners that were being held.
We certainly try.
And, well, she has asked that whatever labors we asked of you, that we would lessen them. So we have a few houses. We have a few houses that still need repairs, and there are a few bats that we need to chase out of the Cavern of Hosts, but
What's with all these fucking bats?
they like the dark.
No, I'm sorry. That was.
Yes, well. Are you all ready to follow me then, or do you need a few moments?
Thames is gonna recast Dark Vision on himself. 8 hours went by, he can't see again.
He's like blinking in the dark. And
He's just like, pauses.
Delia also cannot see. Remember, cannot see.
We have our old and our strong, but we're blind.
So, and without the glow of these mushrooms, it would be like cave darkness.
You have to use Tenza as your seeing eye person.
Cave dark.
It's fucking dark. Like, and looking up, you can see where like the cavern just goes on, and you can see what might be like, oh hey, stars, and then you realize, no, that's just a glowing mushroom really far away. Like it's up there.
Delia's gonna grab onto the wing of Claudius and be like, I'm ready. Where are we going?
Angara, tie one of your sashes to them and just make a train of
Just
them.
like the tip of your wing. Just like,
They bumping around.
I think they would. Like, it's probably way worse because she's been so accustomed to desert for so long, she cannot fucking see a food.
Bright ass
So
desert.
I'll just kind of tuck my arm around hers.
As we go to walk out, Asha,
Yes.
how do your people feel about dragons?
Well, we revere and fear them.
Drugs. Drugs. And when I said dragons, I meant drugs.
Drugs or dragons?
Yes.
We revere and fear dragons, and well, substances are helpful in different amounts.
these are your people.
These are my
They're
people.
also druggies.
And if there were to be a dragon here,
I suppose it would depend on what sort, as she's just like leading you through this village.
okay.
No reason.
Alright, and
She's gonna walk backwards through the line of people that's like following her. She's just gonna like slowly be like, oh yeah, totally, and keep walking, but like in place so that eventually she gets next to Angrod.
And you can see all around you that the drow have taken these mushrooms, and you see some of them like chopping them up and pushing them down this like line of people, and others still are grinding them into a paste and mixing them with some weird water and smearing it on the various like buildings. And you can see that on every building that they like put this on, you can see it a little bit better. Like this is this weird glowing paste where you can actually kind of see where you're supposed to be walking, and
Can
they're
we
just
see where we're walking?
You
Can
kind
we
of-
see where we're walking?
you kind of like it's like they had taken glow sticks and broken them and then smeared them around.
She's gonna look in the complete opposite direction and go, excuse me, would it be offensive if I took a torch out so I can see what I'm doing?
No, not at all. And like you're given a torch and it's just struck and sudden light.
She just goes,
Look, we can see.
Great, thank you, Delia.
you're really high up. Do you want your own one? Or I don't know how this works for you.
That's all right.
Okay, great. And she's like,
Angrod, do you think they'll... Should I just keep him hidden? You know,
I mean, frankly, he has not had a chance to be out in a while, and I don't think that these people would think horribly to him. It's there are children here, and I think he needs a chance to be a child.
that would be so fun. Come on, hiss. And I pull him out of the hood. Become a boy.
And he does not become a boy.
Fine.
He
Don't play with
just-
the other kids.
He just flies out of your hand and is now flying circles. And you can see that he's like stretching as far as he can as he's just soaring around this cavern. And you
get
just hear these
lost.
like shrieks and
Wait, I should introduce you first. Wait, come back.
and you can see the kids, Mama, it's a dragon! And you can hear like people just rushing in and they're all staring. And now you can see that where Topside, Hiss has, you know, these really lovely colors that kind of shift. He glows in
My
the
boy
dark.
glows in the
I'm
dark.
trained
And
with
it's not
dragon.
just this glow that's like his whole body, but you can see where his little like fan comes up when he's upset. The tips of it are glowing hot pink. Like the little feathered bits of his ears are glowing like this very soft ethereal blue. Even his claws have like little green, and the tip of his tail is batting back and forth, and you can see where Topside, you see him just in sunlight, but you can see little colorful sparks are coming off of his tail as he's flying around.
Just be careful. Don't poop on anyone.
And he comes back and lands. He comes back and lands on your shoulders. Oh, that's better, Mama. And now everyone is just staring.
This is his.
You have one of the old ones.
He's my son.
Your son?
I mean, we
Not
found
by
him.
an
We found him in a
optical.
jar.
I
Some goblins buried him. I'm not sure why.
We're a mixed family.
We are.
see.
He's a sweet boy.
Claudius just looks from over.
And she goes, yes.
So you don't know what he is then?
A dragon. Yes. That's
She
just
just started laughing.
it sounds so spooky.
He is one of the psychedelic dragons.
My favorite kind.
Fitting.
They're very old and revered, but there are so few of them. I've never seen one so young.
Do you have more books or learning bits about psychedelic dragons?
Some of our elders may have stories of them.
Good.
Yes, well, this is very exciting. Oh heavens, Opal's dead. And she just like herds you all towards this table, and Opal is standing there, and
I don't like this.
her hair has been painted with the same glowing mushrooms, and she's wearing it's the same color and same fabric that everyone else has, but it's wrapped in a way that it's very distinct. Like she has heavy robes on, essentially, in a way where she can't do much physical fighting, but she stands at a table, and as soon as she sees his, she goes, I have not repaid my debt.
Aww.
Thank you all for what you have done for me, my
Student
God.
loans.
Well, I had hoped that
I have never thought of such a great opportunity in my life. I need to go quickly find the Underdark. Wow.
And I had hoped that this meal would suffice, as well as some clothes I had brought in for you. Was he there the whole time?
He's very sweet. I think you will like him.
I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about... I don't know how I can pay this off for 100 years.
Oh.
I suppose we can start with a drink then, and she rises.
Prop work.
Also, would he use this opportunity to run the fuck?
Yeah, same, bro.
Like the animatronic.
And so Opal gestures. Now, I understand you from Topside perhaps have different tastes, but this is something that is quite special to us, and, well, one we use on certain occasions, but there are times when the frogs of Topside tumble down the rivers into the upper dark.
No, slime. Words. Jumpy things.
And we harvest their water.
Ooh.
Those chia seeds?
No, they're egg seeds, bro.
Egg juice.
Egg
No.
The bits of the
Are
egg.
we doing the church thing, or are you gonna pass it the other way? Okay, we're gonna keep it going, y'all.
Amen.
Oh man.
I'm just amen, not amen.
Oh.
Oh, why is it in there? It's frog pea juice. No.
Fucking delicious.
You're complaining you didn't get the dark one. You got the clear one.
Yeah, these ones were dehydrated.
Oh, Tina, you made it worse.
And so you can see that, like, some of the kids are getting these drinks, and they're absolutely delighted and, like, cheering. And she raises her glass, and thank you for saving
Dylan's
my
like-
life
Not yet.
and the life of so many others. And then she just drinks.
I wait for her to drink.
Ingrid does like a little prestidigitation flash, like that's the toast, and Agor just do a little bit of like.
Oh, I need to tell the one.
Insight check. That was terrible.
She goes.
She like hands some of it to the boy and is like, here.
He's and you can hear him like,
She looks
as
at
he like
Claudius
eats
and
a couple
goes,
of the eggs.
"Oh, no,
Pours it over her
wow,
shoulder.
Cheers. That was real good.
What did you make that from?
It's actually just like a mango flavored basil seed drink. So.
That was hilarious.
That's good. I've always wanted to know what that tastes like.
It's pleasant.
I like the slimy thing.
The basil seeds.
Basil seed.
Basil.
No, the frog eggs that you were lying.
I want y'all to know we were in the Asian market looking for frog legs, and then we like rolled up one of the aisles, and I picked up one of the bottles, and I was like, this is fun. I think it looks like frog eggs. We should drink this while we're in the Underdark. And Sarah stopped mid-stride and was like, boom, in the fire.
Prop work.
That's
Prop
me when I see blueberry cereal at Halloween. I'm like, oh no, I bought them out. Whoops. My bad.
I
Oh
wish
no,
I
I've been
could
eating this hurts.
repay the favor, but unfortunately I have no access to Agor
No. You have. My task now is repaying the favor that you have done me. Here, nothing can exist without some sort of balance, and because you have saved my life, you have ensured the longevity of my village. And, well, your lives are. I thought they were equal.
Oh shit. This feels like home.
I only wish that
Like in the game, or
Now, tell me how you came about such a treasure.
We found him in a jar.
treasure. It's a
Sip,
thirst.
drink.
Game as well.
Uh-huh.
do you want to introduce yourself?
And he just kind of fans a little bit.
Oh.
My name's Hith, and I'm 120 years old. And he like leans forward to lick up more of the frog eggs.
Alright.
He's
found
a
him
very
in the
good boy. He's learning some magic. He's doing very well with that. He's do the ivy, the practice.
And then he blinks and his eyes are different color.
Golf claps.
Yes, the old ones were renowned for such magics.
What else can you tell us about the old ones?
Well, they formed many of the caverns and lakes, or that is the belief. Is that it was their tears who formed our lakes. It was their wings and claws who formed our caverns. It was their breath that gave life to the plants among us. And they have faded into story. But I always believed that I would see one. I just thought I would have to go on a journey for it. There is one that lives, well, many sleeps away.
Approximately how many sleeps and in which direction?
It would take a fair portion of my life.
Is it in the Underdark?
Yes.
How big is this place?
As big as the world is.
Wow, that's really big. I've been a lot of places, but the whole world? Oh, sorry.
Is it divided into countries or sections or?
It's mostly divided into caverns. And within the caverns, you may find a city, you may find a forest, you may find a dragon. I suppose it all just depends on which one you go to.
Julia looks at him. Do you have a homing signal or like a Rivet or so, I don't know.
A rivet?
I don't know what sound a dragon makes. I don't know.
It's with his name.
And then he hisses.
Oh, that does make sense.
Well, what do you believe such a debt incurs?
I was actually just going to ask you if you were to quantify this on a gold to this ratio, what would that look like? No, it's like a kilos versus like a pounds thing.
I would perhaps buy you a small town.
I believe that transportation might be more valuable to us at the moment.
Oh, where are we? Do you know? In comparison to the upstairs?
I could perhaps tell you where we are in comparison to the Underdark, but we don't have any reason to go topside.
How did you
Well-
end up in a prison?
A spell gone wrong, unfortunately. One of my apprentices was training with teleportation runes, and I would not risk the elements.
Bus.
So I stepped through myself and unfortunately found myself topside in a swamp. And in fleeing it, I was captured.
Also, we should save this debt for when we ultimately have a like battle of the five armies situation, and we could really use some drow warriors.
We can
Do we have to use our favor now, or is this like an eternal gift to us, or like is there an expiration date, or what?
I would not have you leave before I know
Best
what it
use
is you
by.
require.
We could learn magic.
I would be interested, especially knowing that you have transportation magics. I would be very interested in learning from more people.
We could learn about dragons and magic, and if you know a bastard named Mogul, that would be great. Or Skamos.
No, I'm sorry.
What about the blue dragon? Do we have a skill? Who has a skill?
Yeah, it's in the lead box still.
One of your,
It's kind of bad luck
I
though.
don't know what word I'm trying to say.
Bad luck.
Psychedelic dragons.
Yay!
Yes, I'm sorry.
How taboo is it to show a scale of a dead dragon in your home?
It's... Why would you have kept a scale?
It's in a lead box, so it's like we don't even have it at all.
If it was a gift.
We are entangled in
You know, on your registry, when someone buys you that something is not on the registry, it's like that.
That's the birthday gift you open and you're like,
Thank you, Mima.
you're coming out.
Custom painted mailbox.
We are entangled in something topside that is much bigger than any of us. It's a mission given to us by our gods. And it will evolve into a war. But right now we are just trying to do the best that we can to minimize damage and figure out what the main enemy that we know of in this war is called Underdark. He seems to gain his power via gold and greed and people falling she's in his cage.
She's getting in his hammock. She's a bastard.
She's like, this is my hammock now.
Oh, I think her paw is, or was caught on it.
Mogul left us this scale and we do not know why. But we kept it in case later on it could prove useful for us. So we are doing the best that we can to try and defeat him because if we do not, it could mean the end of our world.
Let's see.
I could learn how to make some dope poison down here. We can exchange. I'll teach you a Tardothian recipe.
No, that would would incur further debt. And I have
But what
no
if
need
it's
of
like
it.
a freebie?
There are no freebies.
Oh, I'd really just like home.
No takesies, backsies either, I assume.
Here, we understand that for everything given, something is taken. And if someone does something for you, even if you tell them that it has no cost and no meaning behind it, you will always remember it, and you may very well regret that you have given it.
Valentine's Day must be a bitch here.
How about this? I can give you some time to think about it, but I can do my best to give 3 of you something that you asked. Does that seem fair?
Do you have means of transport to the surface?
Not here. It might still be too much of a risk to use what we have, but I do know an entry and exit area to Topside. And I can give you what equates to a map to that.
How many seats would you say that is?
9, perhaps 10.
I'm down for a very fashionable experience.
Real quick, I am delighted that this woman who was like screaming at us in prison, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? We get down here, she's like, yes, I am a priestess now, and I have a fancy accent. Whereas in like 30 minutes ago, in game time, she was like, what the fuck are you doing?
You know, everyone's got a limit, and she reached it.
It makes me really happy though.
So wait, we go from a small town to only 3 of us get something.
Well, we are asking for a lot of like knowledge and spell power.
Yeah.
We're at the small town.
You asked in relation to gold. Were I to give you something material, then yes, perhaps it would equate to a small town. If you're asking for magic, if you're asking for our inner workings of the Underdark and maps which keep us safe because no outsider knows them, then the cost will change. But I can give you time to think it over. I did understand that a few of you were going to help us with housing repairs.
Gentle
What if we just wanted you to poop us out somewhere?
As I said, from here that would... It's simply not feasible right now.
We knew we were going to need to travel somewhere different next anyways. It doesn't matter where we go, there is fucking influence from the mogul everywhere.
There's also the maps of the dark. We can't go wherever you like. I have a family. I have to help other people.
Nah.
We said it was a family you're already in.
Well, it's depending on where we end up, there are probably mages that we can contract to get you back to Iran. At least to the border.
That's an option.
Yes.
Safina's going to, as she gets a chance, write down Tardothian recipes for things like poisons and healing things and just roll them up and leave them in spots that people will eventually find. And they're just gonna have little like faces on them so that everywhere she leaves them they're gonna be like, no.
This
This is the work of the traveler.
Yes. Our patron saint.
How could you go back to Iran? Haven't you been seen at the prison there?
There's 1,000 old ladies at least.
At least.
The
Is that why you've been so many old
She
ladies?
knows what she's talking about.
Slaps water down. That's good.
I know Remember was happy to help you with your houses. I could also help. I have some magic at my disposal. I don't know how this would be helping. But
Same.
We can see what we can do.
Well, thank you. Perhaps if you know any spells that are good at a distance, you can help clear the bats out.
I'm good.
Lovely. I will give you some time then, and she goes ahead and serves this meal, and it's nothing is recognizable, and it looks like it's probably some of the mushrooms that they were harvesting elsewhere.
We're still kind of in the dark, so it's one of those like really edgy like restaurants where you eat in the dark.
And
I
like,
can't see my plate.
and one of them, there's bread, but when you bite into it, it tastes of just mushroom, but it looks like bread.
It's a bread shroom.
Room.
What the hell am I eating?
There's 2 kinds of people.
And someone,
Red shroom.
and there's like a kid there who has gotten some of this, and he looks up and he's, what? Kid, you don't want it?
No. I'm like kind of like swatting like his little fingers away.
But I like blue cap. I'll eat it.
You'll like this a little bit better, and I'll pull out some of the candy that we got.
Oh, you can't just give some random child your candy.
He's
Where
just
is your
like,
mom?
For
He's like-
life dead.
What's that?
You need to ask your mother before
What
you
is
eat
that?
It's a candy.
No,
What's a
Grandma's
candy?
owner. He can have whatever he wants.
It tastes.
I don't know
And he
you.
like pops
I
the
don't
whole
know
thing
any
with
of
the
you right
wrapper in
now.
his mouth.
I don't know any of you right now.
He's like,
Paper, it's
it's-
fine. The paper on the outside you're supposed to take off first. I should have caught you before that. Sorry. Spit the paper out.
This is exactly
He does
what
not.
this is exactly what Safine looks like.
And he. You got more? Guys, do you want a
started-
candy?
This is how
do you
addicts
want
start.
a candy? And
Do
he
you
goes
see
off
this?
running to the other kids.
I think I only had the one.
This is like when you go to a foreign country and you give out sweets to the people on the streets and they're like, wow! And then you have a horde of people following you and you don't have any candy left to give.
So school.
Yes, school and gum.
Alright, so which of you are going to go do housing repair? Claudius and Remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are brought over to where there's a few houses, and you can see that a stalactite has fallen into them, and just, it's a massive stone, and there are a couple drow there who are hammering away at it with chisels, and they kind of wave and, yes, I hear you're here to repay a debt. And they just give you hammers and
We're here
chisels.
too.
Break apart the stone and carry it over there, and then we'll get to work on actually fixing the house. And they go back to just... Now, this thing, when I say it's a massive stalactite, I mean it's a good, 20 feet across. Yes.
It was a minor.
Mm-hmm.
In what
I know how
field?
Those
to
are all minor.
place a little.
You don't have any more.
I have ammo.
How... We said that you did how many boxes of explosives for your ammo?
You said you used the rest of your ammo for boxes.
I gave all my arrows away.
Yeah, you gave your arrows
Oh,
away.
you used one for a
Okay.
bomb, I
I
thought.
still have 20 or 30. I have it down here. I still have
You
20 rounds.
could, but there is still the risk of you're in a big cavern and it's already a stalagmite has already fallen. So you don't know if an explosion would
Can I do a wisdom check to see if I?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let's set off
Here,
an
I'll take
explosion in the cave.
Just straight wisdom or perception or?
Wisdom check.
You as one?
Wisdom.
For my phone?
Oh, you didn't.
I had the feeling you might want something.
You would definitely know where to place it, where to place enough explosives to break the stalactite apart faster. But again, it's on top of houses, so they're probably doing it the safest way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
Oh,
you
yes,
might
yeah,
blow it
but-
up too hard that it blows up the rest of the capital. The real you want?
Density of the falling stone compared to the stalactite.
You possibly damage your weapon.
Okay.
Yeah. So the hammer and chisel that they're doing is the easiest easiest way to do it. And a couple of them, like, when they see you guys walk up, like, they definitely were startled at first, but they very quickly just fall into just a very rhythmic breaking pieces up, getting them to a manageable size, and then carrying them off.
I'm going to cast
You were first. Go ahead.
spiritual weapon as a hammer.
Did you with us?
I forgot
Yeah.
you resisted Jim.
Oh wait, did she need a healer though? Oh no, bats. I'll go with the
Yeah.
bats.
Okay.
I guess.
Yes.
She wants to find a way to help, so she's like, "Can I cook for you while there are children to watch? What can I do?"
I can offer you a loaf of bread if you help me prepare it.
Absolutely. Let's go.
And you're brought with a couple of the drow women to what looks like a very large kitchen. And they have these blue-capped mushrooms that they are drying up and then grinding up into a powder, and they teach you how to make spore bread out of this mushroom.
Sprouted
Try
bread.
grilling them.
Not these. These are no good for grilling, but barrel stock is fine.
Excellent. Never thought of that. She's like flipping through her little recipe book, like, ooh, who had a good idea?
Fire lichen is nice if you prefer things a bit spicier. We also make a good liquor out of it.
I need to move here. I like this. Listen, am I still talking to the main person we were talking to?
No, this is just one of the other people.
Oh, wait, then.
Alright, and so, they are just very steadily, like, chiseling away at this massive stalactite. And you can see that the house itself looks like it's made from the exact same stone. And so they then proceed to show you, oh, this is how we grind it up, and here's what you mix it with, and then they set you to work, like,